Hello, fellow movie lovers. Bob for Bob's Movie Review here, and today I'm bringing you guys my March 2020 Blu-ray and DVD collection update. So this update is actually pretty big. Probably gonna be the last big one for a little while, at least the next month or two. I don't know, it's kind of weird. The beginning of March seems like a lifetime ago. You know, we were hearing about the coronavirus, but people, weren't on lockdown. There weren't stay-at-home orders. It just seems like such a long time ago. So like always, guys, I just have these all separated by the studios and who sent me the most films, and then my purchases. So first up, Lionsgate sent over Bombshell. Now, this was about a group of women at Fox News who brought up charges against their boss for sexual harassment. Definitely a very interesting movie based on a true story. I really enjoyed this movie, guys. Great performances. And I mean, I don't want to say a great story, just because of what happened, but they did a really good job with this, guys. I really liked it. Next, Lionsgate sent over The Unexplained Season 1. This one is hosted by and narrated by William Shatner, and it's just kind of these mysteries and and kind of strange occurrences, aliens, ghosts, haunted places. Are those ghosts? I don't know. But, just kind of all these sci-fi, I guess, depending on who you are, sci-fi kind of things. Very interesting. I definitely enjoyed it. Each episode had a couple examples of each of the topics. Some of the lines there for William Shatner were really cheesy, and the way he delivered them was really cheesy. But I really enjoyed this show, guys. Definitely check that one out. Next up, Lionsgate sent over Come to Daddy. Now, this one stars Elijah Wood, and he's a man, and he gets a letter from his father who he hasn't seen in, I can't remember, it's like 20, 30 years. And he says to come visit him, and he gets there. And his dad's really weird, and he doesn't really seem to even want him there. It's like, what's going on here? There ends up being a big twist, 2/3 of the way through the movie, and then it really turns into kind of a horror thriller kind of thing, and definitely interesting, that last half hour of the movie. I like this one, guys. I just wish they had really done more earlier in the movie, but I do feel like it's worth checking out. Next up, Lionsgate sent over Intrigo, Death of an Author, and I guess this is based on a book, and there's going to be, I think, 2 more movies, both releasing this year, I believe. One, I think, is coming straight to digital, and one might be releasing in theaters if they ever reopen. But this one was about this guy who is writing this book or something, and he's reading it to his friend, and it's about this man and woman who go on vacation, and on the way she's like, I'm leaving you, but they still go on vacation, and then he kind of comes up with this plot to kill her. It's kind of an interesting movie, a little slow and a little long, but I was really hooked for like the first hour of this thing. Like, I really wanted to see what was going to happen. And then it kind of goes in like this weird direction towards the end. But I did definitely like this one. Another solid one to check out, guys. Next up, probably one of the best movies of the month and one of the fan favorites. Lionsgate did send over Uncut Gems. Now, this is the Adam Sandler movie where he's kind of like a jewelry dealer slash professional gambler, and he's just coming up with all these schemes to make money, and he'll try to get something here to get some money to pay something else off, and then he'll try to gamble some money, and he owes these people this money, and he's just constantly trying to move things around to try to keep these people off his back. And definitely a really good movie with this insane ending that you really don't see coming. It's just kind of one of those real shocking moments, and definitely an interesting movie for sure. Highly enjoyed this one, guys. Highly recommend it. Check that out if you haven't already. Next up, Lionsgate sent over Ancient Aliens Season 12, Volume 2. It's hard to really know what to say about these, because if you've seen any of these, you know what it is, you know what to expect. Documentary style show about all these different theories of how aliens could have been involved in the formation of our civilization, or the pyramids, or just all these different things, and they do exhaustive coverage of the topics. Definitely very interesting. Definitely a great show for people interested in the possibility of extraterrestrial life. And I highly enjoy this show, guys. I love it. The last one from Lionsgate, they sent over Inherit the Viper. And I was really excited for this because it has Josh Hartnett. And, he was kind of a big star, and he just disappeared for many years. And he's kind of slowly coming back into the scene. And this movie was about him and his sister are painkiller drug dealers. And they're in this small town, and everyone knows that they're selling these opiates, and their little brother, he's trying to get into the business. But Josh Hartnett's character, he kind of wants out. He feels like things are getting bad, and he doesn't feel safe anymore, and he wants to get out. But his sister refuses, basically, and his little brother, he doesn't want to either. And definitely an interesting movie. It is kind of slow, but overall, well produced and good performances. I'd say check it out. It's not something you're going to love, but I think it's worth watching. All right, Mill Creek Entertainment sent over Hard Hunted and Fit to Kill for review, the next two releases from the Andy Sidaris series of films. These movies are all so similar. I know I've said this before. They really start to run together for me, but these two stories were connected. One was the sequel. I think Fit to Kill was the first one, and maybe Hard Hunted was the second one. And these movies were all right. The first one, it actually had a story. The other one, and I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure. Now, maybe this was the second one. I can't remember, guys. But one of them, it had like no story. Both these movies are okay. I mean, if you've seen the other ones, you might as well check those ones out. Mill Creek Entertainment also sent over The Nines with Ryan Reynolds, and in this movie, it's a very strange movie, very hard to follow. Definitely check this out more than once, because I had actually seen this many, many years ago. This was from 2006. I don't know when I saw it, but it obviously sometime between now and then. But I feel like even with a long break between watching it, I kind of understood it better the second time. But it's basically he has these kind of like alternate realities he's living out. And I don't want to say too much, because it's going to give it away pretty quick if I get much into it. But basically, he'll live these different lives with the same people, but everything kind of changes. And it's definitely an interesting movie. I actually kind of like that one too. Next up, Mill Creek Entertainment sent over The Warrant, and this was about just after the Civil War. Casper Van Dien's character, he kind of like, he wants to kill all the traitors of the South? I can't remember. And he creates this gang, and they're kind of killing these people. And, I don't know. It was okay, but the story just wasn't there for me. The last thing Mill Creek Entertainment sent over was Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the complete series on Blu-ray. Now, this is a show about this girl who's kind of abducted as a teenager and by this kind of cult leader, and they end up taking him and these other women down to a bomb shelter, and he says it's the end of the world, and they're down there for like 15 years or something. And they eventually, I think like the police or the FBI or something rescues them, and they find out the world never ended, and they really don't understand the world. And this is kind of all the hijinks she gets into. I love the show, guys. Ellie Kemper from The Office is the main character. It's a lot of fun, good, funny show. Definitely check that one out. Well Go USA sent over The Captain. This is a great movie, guys. I highly recommend it. It is in Mandarin with English subtitles, and it's about this flight crew who go out, and they're flying over this mountains, and the windshield just like explodes on the airplane, and they have to try to get back. Great movie, guys. Probably maybe my second favorite movie of the month, guys. This is a really good story. Really kind of like heart-wrenching, and it's a good one, guys. Check that one out for sure. Next up, Well Go USA sent over Abigail. a little bit of a strange movie, almost like a steampunk feel to this, about this town that that the government says there's some sort of disease, and they kind of wall up the town, and anybody who's found with the disease is taken and presumed to die or be killed or something. But there's a little more going on than meets the eye. Definitely an interesting movie. This one did have an English language track, and it may have been originally in English. It definitely appeared to be, not dubbed, but pretty sure. And definitely an interesting movie. Check that one out, guys, if you're into more of kind of fantasy movies. This is a good one. Next up, Will Go USA sent over The Witch Subversion. Now, I was expecting, they were listing as an action movie, but The Witch, it kind of looks like a horror movie, doesn't it? But it's about this girl who's like experimented on, and she escapes, and the scientists are looking for her, and they've basically kind of given her these powers where she's like super strong and super fast and all this stuff. And so she's trying not to be found, and they're trying to find her, and it's kind of this whole search for her until the end. She has to go John Wick and kill everybody. Definitely the action in this I really thought was great, and it was a good movie. I definitely enjoyed the story. I believe this one was in Korean with English subtitles. Yeah, check that one out, guys. Next up, Will Go USA sent over Nisa for review, and this movie to me was a little hard to follow. It is an animated movie. I believe it had an English it had an English language track, and it's about these two kind of pill things. I can't remember what they were, but one was good and one was bad. And they end up going into these bodies, and this kid is raised, and everybody knows he's like evil or whatever. And so his life's not too good. And it was definitely an interesting movie. I liked it, but I didn't get too much into that one. And last thing from Will Go USA was The Climbers. Another great story. This one was in Mandarin about this Chinese mountain climbing team who were climbing Mount Everest. I think they were like the first Chinese team to do it, but then there was like no evidence, so nobody necessarily believed that they did it. And years later, they go back to do it again, and this time, they need to make sure they have evidence. Definitely, like, all the mountain climbing scenes were really great. Or, like I said, a really great story, but there were these long parts between that just kind of drug on forever and gave this thing this really bloated runtime of, I believe it was over 123 minutes. So I did enjoy this one, but I really wish they had cut down the non-climbing parts of the movie. Warner Brothers sent over Richard Jewell, another really great, highly recommended movie, guys, about Richard Jewell, who was a security guard at the '96 Atlanta Olympic Games. And he ends up stumbling upon a pipe bomb, and he finds it, and he kind of, like, nobody else is really caring, like they think it's just a backpack, and he's like, it could be a bomb. And so it ends up being a bomb, and it explodes. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but some people were killed and some people were injured. And at first they think he's a hero, and then the FBI starts to really focus in on him possibly being the suspect, even though there's really no evidence. They're really intent on blaming him for the whole deal. Very interesting movie, guys. Very sad. Great performances. Like, superb movie. Check that one out for sure. Warner Brothers also sent over Superman Red Son, and this is kind of like an alternate reality where what if Superman landed in Soviet Russia and he became a Soviet, and Superman kind of ends up taking over the whole Soviet Union and expanding it instead of it kind of crumbling. He expands it. And it does have some of the other characters, Batman and Lex Luthor and Wonder Woman. And it was an interesting movie. There were definitely things I liked about it, but I definitely didn't love this one, guys. Probably out of the DC animated I've seen, one of my least favorite. I think my favorite thing was the Soviet Batman. But it was an okay movie. I don't know. I just maybe didn't care for the alternate reality kind of deal there. And last thing from Warner Brothers was Titans Season 2. This one, if you guys haven't seen it, is about the Titans, but kind of grown up. They're not really the Teen Titans. They're grown up. And this has kind of a real dark atmosphere to it. And, everybody's got their issues, and they're fighting against bad guys, of course. And, I like this show, guys. It definitely is a more adult feel, swearing, gore. Although I didn't care for this season as much as season 1, I still liked it, and I still hope they continue the show. Paramount Pictures sent over the 10 Commandments. This is the digibook version with the little book in the middle and the discs. This includes both 1923 and 1956 films. I had never seen either of them, and both very interesting. The first one is a silent film, and to me, I never really, I don't think, watched a silent film, but I think it adds a lot to the runtime in how, you know, they have a scene and then they'll have the text on the screen and you got to read what the dialogue was, and it just makes the movie seem really long. But a great movie, the story of Moses and getting the 10 Commandments. And the second one is super long. It was over 3 hours. I can't remember, 231 minutes, so almost 4 hours. It was a really great movie. Stars Charlton Heston, is super famous. Really great. I actually enjoyed both movies quite a bit, guys. I like the second one a lot more, even though it is super long. These are both 2 movies worth checking out. The last thing Paramount Pictures sent over was A Quiet Place on a Mondo 4K Steelbook. Now, I had seen this one in theaters, and I rewatched it again this last month. This one is about these creatures, and I'm not sure if they get too much into it, if they're aliens or what exactly, but they hunt through sound, and so everybody has to be quiet. And, you know, if they hear you, they'll come kill you. And definitely a really great movie. Love this movie. They're doing this for the release of the second one, but now it's been delayed. But if you guys haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. Universal sent over Dark Waters. Now, this one was about this guy who's investigating the DuPont company and their Teflon, and how it ended up being super toxic and hurting and killing a lot of people, based on a true story. And it's primarily about the investigation into him by a lawyer played by Mark Ruffalo. Great movie, guys. Check that one out. Next up, Universal sent over Playmobil, the movie. I don't know if this one just didn't do real well in theaters. It only released on a DVD. And to me, it's kind of like the Lego movie, but on a franchise that people know a lot less about, Playmobil, which is a toy company who makes these toys. And, you know, they get sucked into the Playmobil world, this boy and his sister, and they have to try to find a way to escape. And at the beginning, I thought they were doing like a lot of good comedy about the limitations of the Playmobil toys, but then it just seemed to really drop that off real fast. And it was an interesting movie. It definitely was fun. More of a kid's movie, but, you know, I think it was still fun. The last one from Universal, they sent over Queen and Slim, and this is a story of these 2 African Americans out on a date, and they get pulled over, and it ends up being like a struggle with the cop, and they end up killing him in self-defense, and they end up going on the run. I didn't really understand why the woman was so quick to go on the run when she didn't really do anything, but they end up going on the run. But the whole time they're on the run, they don't seem to be that concerned about the fact that there's like a manhunt out for them. Definitely a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Really great performances. Kind of sad that, you know, people kind of have to live their lives like that, but definitely check that one out, guys, if you haven't already. Sony Pictures sent over The Grudge. This one had a pretty good cast. It had Lin Shaye, who's not in it a ton, also had John Cho. And if you guys have seen the old Grudge movies, they're all kind of strange about some kind of violent act happens and it attaches itself to the property or whatever. And so there's this house, and people see these people, and then they hurt themselves or whatever. You know, it jumped around in time a lot, which I found confusing, and I didn't find really much of the movie to be very scary. Overall, this movie was all right. And the last one from Sony Pictures is The Song of Names, about this boy from Poland who goes to live with this family in England, I believe either right around the start of World War II or just before the start of World War II. And he's like a great violin player. And he kind of believes eventually that his family has been killed, and he just stays with this family in England. And definitely a really good movie. Eventually, at some point, he disappears, and this other guy spends a whole lot of time looking for him. Like I said, guys, really great movie. Check that one out. It was a little long. I believe it was around 2 hours, but I really like the story on that one. For Digital Media sent over Two Graves in the Desert. Of course, this has Michael Madsen and William Baldwin, and they kind of kidnap these two people and they have them locked up in the back of a truck, and they're taking them out to the desert to kill them. And this whole thing is about the drive there, and these two people have to realize why they're there and how they know each other. And yeah, it was okay. There's nothing really spectacular about that one. For Digital Media also sent over Uncaged, and this is about this like really big lion that escapes and starts killing people. I'm trying to remember. I think there was like some kind of comedy in this and a lot of gore and some pretty good effects. This one was dubbed, I believe, or some of it was dubbed and some of it was in English. I don't know. I was really confused when I watched this because some of it seemed to line up real well and some of it didn't seem to line up at all. So I kind of wondered if the original movie, there were some lines in English or what. But overall, I think this movie was all right. Fox sent over Spies in Disguise for review, and this one has Tom Holland and Will Smith, and Will Smith is like a super spy and Tom Holland's like the nerd who creates all the gadgets, and somebody basically gets like something to make them look like Will Smith, and then they do something, and so the government's after Will Smith and Tom Holland has to help him escape. It's kind of a strange what they go into, but it's a fun movie, a good family movie. I think maybe more of a kids movie. I did like it, but I just didn't love that one. Dark Sky Films sent over Ghost Hunters versus Bloody Mary. Now this one was a Brazilian movie about these guys who are kind of like ghost hunters, but it's all like a big joke kind of thing. They don't really do anything, and these kids summon Bloody Mary, and the principal asks them to come in, even though he doesn't believe in it, just to give people peace of mind. He wants them to come in and get rid of Bloody Mary, and they get there and it ends up being real. And it's supposed to be a horror comedy. Some of the comedy to me though is just real kind of gross out and not that great of comedy. But the horror elements I felt in this movie really worked, and I thought this movie made a good horror movie. Less good of a comedy. Definitely interesting. Unfortunately, the subtitles at points are a little hard to keep up with, and a little hard to keep up with what's going on in the movie. But I did like this one, guys. I think it's worth checking out. Magnolia Pictures sent over Little Joe, and this was about this team of like botanists or whatever. They're trying to create this new plant that will actually alter your mood and make you happier, and you kind of have to take care of the plant and talk to it, and there ends up being some side effects, and they haven't really tested it, and they're kind of let this thing loose. They don't let it loose to the public, but kind of all the people working on it kind of start to get affected by it. Definitely a very interesting movie, and there's kind of some twists in it. I liked it, guys. I don't think this movie will be for everyone, though. The last thing sent to me for review from Cinedigm was Spy Intervention, and this movie is about this guy who's a spy, and he's like chasing down this bad guy, and he runs into this woman at the mall, and he ends up falling in love with her, and they get married, and he quits being a spy. But then for some reason he has to be brought back into being a spy, and he's like going on these secret missions, and she thinks he's cheating on her. I thought the main guy did a good job, and I thought they did some really kind of fun, quirky things with the effects. But the story for me, it was just okay. So now for my purchases for the month, guys. I did finally pick up Riverdale Season 3. I recorded an unboxing. I don't know if that's up yet. Definitely looking forward to checking that one out. I did finally pick up The Simpsons Season 19. I did post an unboxing of that. I think this was only like $3.75 or something at Walmart. I picked up Daphne and Velma. I've never seen that. Picked up Monsters University 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. Up 4K Steelbook. Unboxing of that up. A Bug's Life 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. Monsters Inc. 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. Wall-E 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. Beauty and the Beast 4K Steelbook. So unboxing of that up. Another Beauty and the Beast 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. Jumanji The Next Level 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. 1917 4K Steelbook. There's an unboxing of that up. And Chernobyl I did post an unboxing of that. Definitely looking forward to checking this one out. I have not seen it yet. Now I have a couple more pickups that I haven't done anything with yet. I picked up Arrow Season 2. Yeah, that was the only season I was missing. Got that one on eBay. I picked up Dead and Tombstone Steelbook from Zavvi. I don't even know what this movie is. Did this movie even release in the US? I don't remember ever hearing it. 71 Steelbook. I'm not sure when this movie is even from. It's just 2015. I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing about it. I did pick up The Return of Ultraman Steelbook because I didn't get that sent to me for review. I picked up the Tomb Raider 3D Steelbook from Zavvi. I picked up Fuller House Season 4. And I picked up DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 4. I'll be working on unboxing a lot of these soon, but that's what I picked up. What did you guys pick up? What did you guys think of any of these titles? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos, check out Jess videos, and for more movie news, check out my website, BobsMovieReview.com. And I'll see you guys next time.